And good morning, everybody. Welcome back to NeelyFX. My name is Michael Neely, and this is the channel where I talk about foreign exchange trading, and making money trading Forex. I'm also here with Henry, the Forex trading parakeet, so he will be also chiming in and putting in his 2 cents worth. First, since we're talking about trading in the real world, let's talk about the risk disclaimers. So this is the possible things that can happen, especially if you don't know what you're doing, which is why I do these videos, so I can know what I'm doing. This channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute trading or financial advice. I'm a professional trader, not a broker. I trade my own capital. I'm also involved in a couple of trading challenges with FXify out of London, as well as AUDUSD Capital, also out of London. Britain, Great Britain, that is. I do not solicit funds, manage accounts, nor do I hold CFTC or NFA registration at this time. I have held NFA registration in the past. Foreign exchange trading is highly speculative with a high risk of losing some or all of your investment capital. Only trade with funds you can comfortably afford to lose. So we got that done. Now, CFTC risk disclosure goes something like this. Forex trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before trading Forex, carefully consider your investment objectives, experience, and risk appetite. You can sustain a loss of some or all of your investment capital. So with that, let's go straight into what's going on. And here we have Henry on my shoulder. You can't see it because of the green background. Come here, Henry. Ow. Oh, he's biting me. This is what we have going on yesterday. We have some news that came out yesterday, which is unusual. We have the, in response to the Jackson Hole symposium that we have got going on. We have the ECB president, the European whatever bank, what do you call it? Central Bank, European Central Bank. Of Europe, President Lagarde speaks. She was formerly of something else. But we won't talk about that. We also have the Bank of England's Governor Bailey spoke. He's the head guy that holds the same position as Jerome Powell in England, and Governor Wada from the BOJ also spoke. So we're not quite sure what they said, but then did not get into that completely. I think it was just all a bunch of, this is what's going on in their country. So we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's going to happen next week. First, Sunday, not a whole lot going on. New Zealand's going to talk about some stuff. It's going to release some stuff. We don't trade the Kiwi, so we're not going to talk about that one. Come here. Henry's underneath my shirt. He's about to bite my stomach. I don't like that. Great Britain. We have a bank holiday in Great Britain tomorrow. That's interesting. And not a whole lot going on. New home sales in the United States. Not a huge market mover, but somewhat of a market mover. Then we have the consumer board. No, I forget what CB stands for. Consumer Conference Board. Consumer confidence will be released, as well as the Richmond Consumer Confidence will also be released. Some Aussie stuff. Aussie CPI will be coming out, as well as some Bank of Canada speak on Monday, Tuesday. Oh, that's Wednesday. Wednesday, not a whole lot going on as far as potential fundamentals that could move the market. Ooh, look at that. Preliminary GDP for the United States. That'll be interesting. This is an updated from the previous one, I think. We're looking at possible 3.1. It's an adjustment. They release it, do the preliminary release, and do a secondary release, and do a tertiary release as the final. So this is the second release for GDP, and it's going to possibly update that 3.1% figure, and that's for the previous quarter. Ends in June, if I'm not mistaken. And then unemployment claims on Thursday, preliminary GDP price index, that could possibly move some stuff. That'll have some weighting on inflation and thus the weighting for the dollar. And then we have 29th, Friday. Don't usually trade on Fridays. Ooh, core PCE comes out on Friday. That's the Fed's favorite way of determining inflation in the United States. So we'll see how that goes, as well as Chicago PMI. That'll be fun too. Well, let's go into our charts and see where we left off. So we're going to be redrawing our lines I want my watch list instead of my the chat room. Nothing's going on in the chat room today. And also, big disclaimer on the chat room: do not get in the chat room if you're looking for answers, because most of those guys don't know anything. There, I said it. Come at me if you want. I don't care. So this is the euro versus the dollar. We're going to go back to monthly chart. That looks terrible. And we're going to see what is going on with our monthly trend lines. And monthly trend lines are being respected. We have a nice little wedge being formed right there over time. We're not going to talk about that yet because it hasn't completed yet. Weekly, I don't have any weekly trend lines. We're going to go straight to daily. Let's see what we got for daily for the support resistance trend lines. Daily support, daily resistance, both look good. We could probably take this one out and put it here. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, I do have a weekly one. How about that? Weekly one is also being respected, so we'll leave that right where it is. Daily resistance trend line. Then here's the interesting part. The 4-hour trend lines are starting to point down. So we may have a turn right here. Daily support lines are channeling up. 4-hour trend lines are channeling down. So that could be a significant change coming up in this, and I'll get to that in a later video. I'll do that tonight when I start actually setting up some trades. I do have some trades I'm going to set up tonight, which is going to be interesting. Here's that monster move on Friday that Jerome Powell said, okay, there might be some rate cuts coming in September, get a better chance of it. There's a 75% chance of a rate cut right now, and that's what drove this 100 pips higher. However, it's at a monster resistance level right now. That it's a one top, could be a double top. I don't know, we'll see. All indications are saying it's going to go higher. I'm not so sure about that. I think if I were going to trade this, I'd trade a straddle. We'll get into that later on tonight. Secondly, let's also see what our 4-hour trend lines are being respected. Our support trend line knows 4-hour support trend line is not being respected. As a matter of fact, this is looking even more suspect right there. And again, this is all subjective. I also have another trend line drawn in here, which has been sharply taken out. Put it about right there. And I'm not even sure what that trend line is. Let's just delete that one. It's just getting too jumbled up for me to see what's going on here. So the 4-hour trend line is still, nope, 4-hour trend line is pointing straight down. And our other support, our other 4-hour trend line, again, it touched that trend line Friday. I do not see it going up for any higher. So in fact, I see it going down. However, that could just be a temporary pullback too, where it's going to, nothing ever moves in a straight line, and it could be looking at a larger move that hasn't materialized yet. So it could go higher. I don't know. We'll trade it nonetheless. Dollar versus the yen. Let's go back to monthly. Let's see what's going on here. This is my second favorite one to trade. Actually, it is my favorite one to trade. I'm going to take this alarm out right here, because that was... this alert's long past overdue. Click on a little garbage again right there, make it go away. Delete alert, you bet. So this is the monthly trend line. Monthly support is still going up. And monthly resistance trend line is going down. That is going to mean a wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's almost textbook. One more touch here, and then should head straight down after that, which would be very interesting. Oh well, we're not going to go there yet. That's, I go to the daily. I don't have a weekly trend line for that. Daily trend lines are right here, and they are also being wedge-like. That's just a flat line right there at 151. And Friday's close is nowhere near that at 147-ish. Pretty much on the dot. Then we'll go to the 4-hour. And 146.94 is where it closed. And again, our 4-hour trend lines, where are they? There's one. That's not working anymore. We need to pull this one down to probably here. And our 4-hour support trend line, our resistance trend line is right there. And I'm thinking we need to change this altogether. I don't think it's a valid. I don't think that works. It does not work for me anymore. Take this one and pull it down there for now. So up here, and we have pull this one right there, and again we have another potential turn taking place. So it could be that the on the larger time frame, we're starting to see a decline in the U.S. dollar, which would be due to the tariffs and bringing in more money from the tariffs into the central bank. So that might be a thing, or into the government in general. I'm not quite sure how that works. It's way above my pay grade. So I'm not going to speculate on that. However, this is also looking like it could be a substantial downturn now for the dollar versus the yen. We are seeing increased pressure with that, with the Japanese bond yields decrease. You know, right here they decreased. They increased. 2-year bond increased, and the 2-year bond yield got a smackdown, 2.4% down, indicating dollar weakness. So that could be the thing there. What we have going on? Could be pound versus the dollar. And again, I don't think I would want to trade this. Let's just pull this one over here. This is another trend line there. I'm just putting in there for the heck of it. And again, there's that giant. There's the Jerome Powell speech. Right there for our support trend line. Ooh, this one badly needs to be adjusted. So needs to come over here. Got that brand new green bar right there. It's indicated by the super trends indicator. And again, converging wedges all over the place on the dollar, the pound, and the Japanese yen. So something's about to happen. Something good's about to happen, hopefully. But I think we might have a turn in the markets. So look at that wedge. We got a wedge on the monthly on that one. That's huge. So we would see a spike in the dollar versus the pound versus the yen. Spike in the pound versus the dollar. Decrease in the dollar versus the yen, and an increase in the euro versus the dollar, just because one's the denominator, the one's the one on top. It's been a long time since I've taken math. Monthly trend lines are being supported. Let's go down to the other part, which is daily. I'm kind of skipping weekly these days. I don't have my weekly trend lines look more like my monthly trend lines, so I typically don't draw them. Daily support trend line, right there. It is being respected. Daily trend line, I think I'll pull that in a little bit if I find it. What's it doing way back here? Monthly. I may not have a daily support trend line. The next top is right there. And again, it's maybe indicating pretty much a straight line. That's why I don't have it. Because my daily trend line would be right here at 134.30, which has already been taken out. Long time back. Daily resistance trend line I would draw right here. Let's do that. Then we'll make it red, since it's resistance. And right in there. That's already right there. Oh, come on. There we go. Daily. Whoops, not how you spell that. Daily resistance trend line. There we go. Daily resistance trend line, and then so far those are being honored, as well as our 4-hour trend lines are also being respected for the pound. You'd think this would be an easy one to trade, but it is up and down all over the place. sometimes. It's probably the most jagged of all the dollar crosses, USD crosses. Pound versus the yen, not really affected by Jerome Powell's speech. Maybe I stand corrected. Look at that downward move. By the that would be an increase in the Japanese yen. That would be due to the bond yield increases in Japan versus the what did I do that versus the dollar. Let's go out to our monthlies and see if our monthlies are still being respected. Okay, monthlies are, it's hard to see, kind of looking good. I think so. Let's go to daily. I don't have any weeklies in there. You get to the monthly chart, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. So all the little writing and tags that are in there. Daily trend lines are looking, oh, monthly trend line. I don't have a daily resistance trend line. If I did, it would be right there. Or just, oh yeah, no, yeah I do. It's a straight line right here at 199.90. Forgot about that experiment. So 199.90 is looking weird. And a 4-hour trend lines. Let's look at those two real quick. 4-hour trend lines. Okay, 4-hour trend lines are also being respected. Oh, no, they're not. Resistance trend line is not being respected. That needs to come down to here now. And that's pretty right there. 3 touches on the trend line could be a going out to the top for the pound versus the yen, but I don't think so, because I think it's going to be heading south because of the way that the Japanese bond yields are increasing. So, with that being said, we're not going to trade that because that is just too volatile for me lately. Here's the Jerome Powell speech again for the Aussie. I'm going to go back down to the monthly trend line right here. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Making fun of my Aussie friends a little bit. Making friends with my Aussie friends a little bit. Okay, there we go. Monthly trend lines. That's a huge one right there. Just telegraphing an upward move. I think we're seeing a shift in fundamentals. Huge shift in fundamentals, because it's just every pair that I've looked at so far is indicating a reversal. Every pair. And it's at the monthly trend line basis that I'm looking at that. I may be thinking too much, but then again, I think everything else is calling for a different kind of thing too. Dailies, kind of a mess. Don't think I have any dailies in here. Then the 4-hour trend lines are looking right there. Why don't I have any dailies in here? Monthly, monthly. No dailies, because dailies would go right here. Daily, let's put that in there. Make it green. And again, this is reminiscent of Elliott wave theory, actually. You know, I've studied about every technical analysis there is out there. I need to make that green too. And I've been studying this for like 30 years. But it's starting to remind me of Elliott wave theory, of, you know, the up, pull back, and it's looking almost I won't say systemic, but it's just crazy how this is working out. Oh, I need to be on the daily chart, don't I? Daily chart right here. Whoops, wrong way. Goodness gracious. Except you don't want to make your daily chart on your, let's just take that one back out. You don't want to put your daily daily trend lines on your monthly chart, or else you'll never see it. I think we're seeing a reversal right here. a huge reversal. The Aussie versus the yen. Oh, pardon me. Aussie versus the dollar. Because right here is 59. That's at 500 pips so far. That's a very, very strong indicator right there. But I'm expecting that to change. Maybe an opportunity right there in the Aussie. 2. Okay, so let's go to the 4 hour right there. I'm just seeing wedges everywhere. It's weird. And then we have a possible new. Oh, that trend line's not really actually going to do anything, so we'll bring it down to here. Again, downward channel is going to be looking for an Aussie breakout around 65.43 and about 50 pips. Although I would put it right here at 75 to clear this area here, and then after that it's got to clear through this. That does not look very strong to me. Oh, never mind. It's a strong high right there. Doh. So it'll be coming in at what, 65.76 and out at 50 pips higher. You know, not every trade is a 150 pip move. In fact, very few of them are. As I'm discovering, as you'll see with my setups I do tonight when I get back. We're going to go have fun tonight. Today. Shortly. I'm about to lose power on everything. Would not be good. Okay, so that's good now. So let's go to the Canadian. The loonie, as it were. You know why it's called the loonie, right? Because they're loony. Nope, because they have a loony bird on the back of one of their coins. And loonies are cute little animals. Cute little wildlife creatures. Because we have them here where I live in Maine. Loons, we call them, not loonies. Let's see. They call them loonies up there, maybe. So this is that's the weekly. Let's go to the monthly on this for the loony. And again, we've got a very strong wedge appearing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and gone. So it's again looking like it may possibly break this 146 level at some point. Right now it's at 138. That'd be a what, 800 pip payday. That'd be pretty nice. I would like to spend that money. So let's see. So our trend lines are being, let's focus on this, not an 800 pip payday. Weekly, I don't have any weeklies in there. So daily. And again, I've got a daily resistance trend line here, but I don't have a daily support trend line here, which is very odd to me. The monthly trend line is holding. I think it's because the daily trend line would look a lot like the monthly trend line. As a matter of fact, it would be exactly the same as the monthly trend line, which is why I don't have a daily trend resistance, daily support trend line in here, because it matches the monthly. Got 3 touches on that there. That's nice. Very pretty. But then the 4 hour trend line, let's go to the 4 hour chart. We got a breakout on the 4 hour. Let's see. It's 4 hours. Call this resistance. Call it what it is. So it's not spelled with the Q though. Resistance trend line. For our resistance trend line, and then here we're going to have the daily trend line right there? It's the daily resistance trend line. We'll probably need to bring that in a little bit. That's looking way far out. What I don't want to be doing is lying to myself about this, because this is where we're going to be making all our decisions. And I think this should be coming even further to here, maybe. And then our daily resistance trend line looks a lot different. And our 4-hour trend line would actually match it. You can get a better idea of that wedge too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is phenomenal how it's just matching these trend lines. So we get a trend line break, we trade it, and that's how that works. Very possible downside break to this one, possibly around 138.05. I would go below that, go to 179, 137.90 ish. 15 pips is going to guarantee the move. That's a very strong downward move there, thanks to Jerome Powell. Thank you, Jerome Powell, for that. I did not make any money on that, or I didn't lose any money either, because I'll show you what I'm doing on my trades with that. Oh no, lost again. And I also want to look at gold. Gold did something phenomenal Friday too. So let's log in back there. Come in here. We don't have currency strengths yet because the market is not open. It's Sunday, getting close to noon here in Maine. Let's look at our monthly trend lines. And everybody's out riding their motorcycles. You can hear those every now and then. Monthly trend line. Well, you know, not a whole lot to argue with there. It's just going up and up and up and up. But it's starting to come down right there. So let's go to our daily. I don't think I've got anything on weekly. Oh, weekly I do. Weekly trend line. Now, when I drew this a month ago, there was just no stopping gold. It was just off to the races. However, that's changed a little bit now. I'm actually looking at getting out of my gold positions, except they took off Friday. Whoops, I want that one. No, we'll hold that the way it is. So the weekly trend line has been broken and is just now in a range. Go to daily. The daily trend line has been broken, so we're going to pull this down to here. Oh, that's pretty. That's right on that trend line too. And that's the daily support trend line, and 4-hour resistance trend line has not been broken yet, but that's a big yet. It's got this big space right here to go through, and the all-time high of not all-time high, but the recent high of 34. That might be an all-time high for gold of 34.33. I think it is an all-time high. So that would take gold to a higher level, and a week high around 3,500. That would be phenomenal. That'd be a phenomenal move. So we may be seeing gold perking up lately again with the, let's get down to the 4-hour and see how significant of a move this is. See Jerome Powell's speech? It's right there. That is a big, what's a $50 move in the price of, yeah, a $40 move in the price of gold. And it kind of backed off a little bit. That's also due to weak volume in the Friday afternoon session because everyone was exhausted, most likely. However, look at this RSI on this. RSI is at 68. So we're also seeing gold almost in an overbought situation, which may be able to force gold through this area of resistance and into new all-time highs, especially with the dollar, with cutting the rate on the dollar. I do not necessarily agree with that. But then nobody ever calls me and asks me. So we're not going to worry about that. Because my forecasts are not what counts. It is what the markets are going to do. Trade what you see, not what you think. Because what you think could always be wrong. Silver has a very pretty move too. I'm not going to... Maybe I should go back to this. Let's go back to the monthlies. It looks like my trend lines need some updating on this. For silver, because silver is also one of those that just looks like it's on a rocket ship. Monthly trend lines are being supported. Good. Let's go to our weekly. I've got weekly trend lines on this one. Go to weekly here, and the weekly trend lines are one support trend line here, resistance trend line here is also being supported, except I would put this right up there like that. It's all converging on this one area, which is kind of interesting also. Daily trend line, I'll back this one out to here. Okay, and then that's going to be a tighter squeeze on the daily and resistance trend line, which may or may not work in our favor. I'm still on weekly, so weekly trend lines are being supported. Let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart, and our daily support trend line needs a shift on that. It needs to come down to here. Whoops. What did I grab? No, it stays here. Okay. This one. Let's come out here. Broke the trend line on the daily and then took off again. Again, thank you again, Jerome Powell. And then we'll go to the 4-hour trend line just right here for silver, and silver is closed at 38.89. Oh, wow. No, it didn't. Did it? Wow, that's a pretty monster move. 38.89. My 4-hour trend line is, whoops, our support trend line. Put that one there. And this one over here. And it looks like we could have a possible turn or a possible pause in the market. No, we'll pull that even closer. That one here. And then take this one. Pull it right there. Oh, not there. Right there. And then the 4-hour support trend line looks like that. So it looks like it may have paused a little bit, and then we'll be taking off again soon. Again, we've got lots of news coming up this past week. We got silver 2.93% higher. How about that? So 39 is be flirting with 40 soon. 39.5 is pretty much the high on this one. The all-time high was set in I think 79, either 79 or during COVID. It went up to $50 an ounce and then came back down quickly. So when I got into the silver market a couple of years ago, it was trading at $16 an ounce. So just watching these things become much more valuable. That's a Morgan. That's a circulated Silver Eagle. Didn't even know they had those. Didn't even know these were released into circulation, but somebody released it into circulation. Oh well. So here we go. That's what we got for this week. Trend lines have been adjusted. We'll be back in the markets probably later on tonight. Might do another video tonight and set up some trades. So I'm trying something unusual that I've never tried before, but I got an idea of it yesterday when I was listening to another podcast. And it was not a trading podcast. It was a tech podcast. I do love me some tech. And yeah, try it out and see what happens. Who knows? But with that, I'm going to leave it there. Oh, wait, let's look over here. My trades. Forgot to talk about my trades. My trades did nothing. As they were designed to. Positions. No positions. Orders. Orders that did not get filled. I can't cancel these right now because the markets are closed and because these brokers are closed. But these are buy stops that I had way up here because I thought Jerome Powell was going to say the same thing he's been saying for the past 6 months, that they're not going to cut rates, not going to cut rates, not going to cut rates. And then here we go on Friday, he says, oh, I might cut rates. So that took the possibilities back up to 75% by CME and FedWatch. So I will be deleting these. And my initial thought was to pull these lower, but this could be just something that's just getting started. And I will, because all of my monthly indicators are telling me that it's going to change directions. We've got a market tops on 5 currency pairs, and that'll be a chance for me to make this number bigger and become funded, and then start making money. So that would be cool too. I would like that. From there, we're going to get out, and you guys have a great one. I'm going to go play with the outside of the world, and we'll see what happens there. But you guys have a great one. If you like this channel, then by all means like and subscribe. I'll see if I can. I'll continue to make these, because this is also serving as my trading journal. Henry's my shirt, so he's kind of tickling me a little bit. But stay tuned. We'll have more coming up. Again, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.